What are your thoughts on what Tennessee needs to improve upon next season?
There's a few areas that they need to focus on. The two areas that I'm going to focus on are the quarterback position and the wide receiving core. Kind of similar to what we just talked about with the Falcons. When it comes to the quarterback position, as of right now, they only have two guys on the depth chart. That's Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis. Josh Dobbs is no longer on the depth chart. And I think more than likely, Tennessee's probably going to be in a situation to probably sign probably a backup quarterback or potentially draft one in the draft, which is actually coming pretty soon. It's not that far away. Just because when you look at Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis, both guys underperformed last year, and the record indicates that they were 7-10. And look, when it comes to Ryan Tannehill, he's been somebody who Kevin and I talked about a couple years ago when the Tennessee Titans had the number one seed. They had home field advantage in the AFC. He was largely responsible for the Titans losing that I believe is a divisional game against the Bengals. And it was a game where defensively for the Titans, they got 9 sacks on Joe Burrow, and Ryan Tannehill ended up throwing 3 interceptions in that game and ended up actually throwing the game losing interception that set up the Bengals for a game winning field goal. And Ryan Tannehill has just been kind of up and down since then. He's had some flashes here and there, but nothing to the point where I have confidence in his ability to be able to get Tennessee to a point where they could be able to compete at a high level within the AFC. Because you look at the AFC right now, Kev, this AFC is stacked. You got teams like the Chiefs to contend with, the Bills, the Bengals. Those teams are head and shoulders above where the Titans are right now. And the Titans finished at a 7-10 record. This is not a team that is trending in the right direction. And I think Kev actually was appropriate. I think it was an appropriate description with essentially saying that Tennessee's kind of teetering on a rebuild here. So, man, if you have Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis as your quarterbacks on the depth chart, that's not a situation that instills a lot of confidence moving forward. Just because Malik Willis had some opportunities last year to be able to display his talents, and he fell short in that regard. So, if the Titans are in a situation where they're going to have to draft a quarterback in this draft or look for somebody in free agency, now's the time because both of these guys are shaky at best moving forward. And then the second part that I want to focus on is the wide receiving core. You let go of Robert Woods. You did that to save some cap. And you look at the situation that they have at the wide receiving core right now. You got Treylon Burks. You have Nick Westbrook Ikine. I've always struggled with that name. And then you have Kyle Phillips. I think we can objectively look at this depth chart for the Titans and say, this is not what I would consider a contending wide receiving core to work with. And, obviously when you look at the Titans offense, it's mostly predicated around Derrick Henry. It's really Derrick Henry first and pass second. But they're going to have to make some upgrades in this wide receiving core. And when it comes to what they've done in free agency, they really haven't done anything to instill a lot of confidence in me that they're going to make some overhaul to this wide receiving core. Maybe they do it in the draft. But as of right now, I'm looking at this wide receiving core, and I just don't think it's going to be able to contend at a high level, even in the division. The AFC South is not a strong division. And, you look at teams like Jacksonville. Jacksonville's on the rise right now. Jacksonville, they got that playoff spot. Last game of the year, Titans had a chance to be able to get into the playoffs, and they fell short. Granted, they had Josh Dobbs in at quarterback, and that probably didn't give them the best chance to win. But nonetheless, they were competitive in that game. They just fell a little bit short. But as of right now, I know Kev's going to have a lot to say about the Titans in some areas that he sees that they need to fix. But overall, the Titans are in a downward trend right now, and they got to fix this quick, fast, and in a hurry if they want to be able to compete for the foreseeable future.
I mean, I'm just going to piggyback on one piece here, and that's going to be offensive line. The Titans have lost a number of offensive linemen over the course of the last few weeks, starting with Taylor Lewan, a former All-Pro left tackle who is consistently battling injuries over the last couple of years. He gets cut. Then we talk about center Ben Jones. He gets cut. Then we're going to move into Dennis Daly. He declares to become a free agent. Then we go and we talk about, I'm sorry, guys, I'm scrolling up their recent transaction history and offensive lineman I can't filter through. Corey Levin, offensive guard. he declares for free agency. Nate Davis, he becomes a free agent, and so on and so forth. Now they did sign Andre Dillard from the Philadelphia Eagles. They did go out there and get Daniel Brunskill from the 49ers. But in terms of depth as a whole, just signing 2 replacement tackles does not fix the issues of all of the linemen in terms of depth that you have lost. That is going to be a focal point, because if you still have Derrick Henry come draft night, right? If he ends up not getting traded and you don't have an offensive line, plus you're trying to make a definitive decision on whether or not you want to continue to work with Ryan Tannehill or you want to build up Malik Willis, Malik Willis, right? Did I just blank on
Yeah,
that?
yeah, you're right.
I don't know why I just hesitated with that. Um, you have to also have an offensive line to protect them. You have to have an offensive line to make holes for your franchise player in Henry. So that has to be the biggest portion for me, because everything starts with the offensive line, as Kyle and I have stated a multitude of times this year. And if Tennessee is going to allow all these people to walk, all these players to declare for free agency, put people on the trading block, not pay attention to massive needs in building the receiving core and the quarterback room, it looks like they're going to be right side by side with Houston for being one of the most dysfunctional franchises over the last couple of years, because they were at a playoff peak just 2 seasons ago. Ryan Tannehill revitalized his career. Derrick Henry was competing for MVPs. They had so much going for them. Mike Vrabel looked like a genius, and now it's all falling apart at the seams, because everybody knows in the AFC South, it's going through Jacksonville. If they can maintain the consistency that they had last season, Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson and now they get Calvin Ridley back. Bro, Jacksonville's going to run the division for the next 5-10 years if these other teams, including the Colts, don't get it together. But Tennessee is not starting off the offseason in the right direction.